Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Doc webinar. My name is Mike Parkhill. I'm a Solutions Architect and Engineering Lead here at Doc. For those of you who don't know who Doc are, we are a company, a verifiable credentials company. We've built a no-code solution called Doc Search, which allows organizations to issue fraud-proof and instantly verifiable digital credentials. We also have a number of APIs and other tools to support everything to do with verifiable credentials. Today, I'm really excited to have with me a couple of people from BurstIQ. I have Amber Hartley and Tyson Henry. And I'll ask you if you can introduce yourselves, please, Amber.
Hello, thank you so much for having us. I'm Amber Hartley. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at BurstIQ, and I am responsible for some of our strategic partnerships, including our partnership with Doc.
Excellent. And Tyson?
Hi, everyone. I'm Tyson Henry. I'm the Chief Technical Officer at BurstIQ, and it's great to be here to talk about our partnership with you guys because I think there's just so much that we can do together to expand what we do and what you do for the industries.
That's great. That's awesome. So I guess just to get started, Amber, can you give us a little bit of a background on who BurstIQ is and what you guys are doing?
Sure. So BurstIQ is a highly secure data exchange and intelligence solution called LifeGraph that's really purpose-built for healthcare and life sciences. We use blockchain and privacy-enhanced technology to infuse security, trust, and intelligence into data at the most granular level. So companies can manage their data with data security, governance, consent, workflow automation, and intelligence all wrapped into a single system. The healthcare and life sciences industry is really unique. It has some very specific requirements around patient privacy and data security, but it also needs to access lots of different kinds of data to really understand people and help them live healthier lives. So we really engineered LifeGraph to make it possible to do both, unify all sorts of data across all sorts of different data sources and data types, and manage ownership and access to that data at a very granular level. And then organize and analyze that data and run intelligence engines on top of it. So the net is that companies get more value out of their data while ensuring that people's privacy is respected.
So how exactly does that work? Like you mentioned the LifeGraph. What is a LifeGraph?
Yeah. So LifeGraph is essentially a digital representation of a person. It can be a place or thing, but it's usually a person. And it captures all of the data that an individual generates around their health experience, their life, their IoT devices. Everything that they do creates data. And LifeGraph really brings all of that together. It does a couple of really key things with that data. The first is LifeGraph manages who owns that data at a very, very granular level. So we are big believers that people should directly own and control their data, not just have sort of cursory access to it.
100%. We totally agree with that.
Yeah. And we really wanted to put people in direct control over their data and how that data is shared and with whom and for what kinds of purposes. All of that really powered by smart contracts. So LifeGraphs, in addition to that, so we use LifeGraphs to manage very high-scale data exchanges. And on the other end of the spectrum, we use LifeGraph to manage distributed intelligence. So with all of that data, you can kind of think of LifeGraph as basically a graph model of me, of a person, but it's bigger than that. It's all of my context. It's how I interact with the world around me. So I like to kind of think of LifeGraph as sort of the Kevin Bacons, how everything is related to everything else. And when you have all of that deeper context about a person and all of the people that they touch and all of the data that they touch and how those things are related, you start to get this much deeper understanding of who I am and what works for me and how I relate to other people, excuse me, and what has worked for them. And so fundamentally what that means is that you can run distributed intelligence and they get this very, very deep insights about a person and what works for them and how to interact with them, all with this very secure layer of compliance and governance and consent wrapped into that. And so fundamentally, the kind of value that we really help businesses realize is how they understand smarter data management, how they streamline their business processes, how they gain deeper insights with trustworthy AI, and how they create these really hyper-personalized experiences.
That sounds fantastic. And now I have an urge to go play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon with my friends again. But
yep.
We'll save that for later. Anyway, the reason we're here is we just recently announced a partnership collaboration between Doc and between BurstIQ. So I'm curious, when you're looking to find a company like Doc or Doc itself, what particular problem are you looking to solve?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I'll start with this. Trust is a huge component, really central to what LifeGraph is. Trust in data and how you can actually trust that data as the user of that data, but also as an owner of the data. How do I actually trust that the data is actually going to be used in the way that I have dictated it should be used? That is really fundamental to LifeGraph. Trust is central to what we do. In the health industry in particular, there's a great deal of trust that is required between patients and the health systems that they interact with. And so one of the things that's really central to what we need to do is, in addition to what we do at our core, which is provide trust in the data, in all of the context around that data, trust in the security and the ownership of that data, we also need to interact with many, many outside systems and how they interact with LifeGraph data. And so verifiable credentials are a really key component to how we do that. So VCs help us take the trusted data that is being managed by a data owner within LifeGraph and package it up in a way that where it can be trusted anywhere. So we can package up any data in LifeGraph as a VC, and we can present it in a way so that the recipient of that VC can really trust and understand the data within that VC, and all of the context travels with that data. So you as a recipient, you understand, I understand this data, I understand the world around this data, I have everything I need to know to be able to trust this data. We chose Doc as our partner for VCs and the DIDs behind them because your interoperability, your scalability, your flexibility, and your advanced privacy preserving strategies really complement what we are trying to do in terms of creating solutions that promote trust. Plus, I'll say your tools are really easy to use.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. Very good. That sounds really cool. I guess, do you have a demo for us?
So absolutely. I would be happy to share a demo. So BurstIQ has a number of application frameworks that we make available to everyone using the LifeGraph network that help them really accelerate how they develop applications and services on that are powered by LifeGraph. So this is an example of one of those application frameworks. I'm going to log in as Clarinda. She is a nurse. And we're going to see another app framework of Clarinda's homepage. She has a number of different applications and services that she uses that are powered by LifeGraph. But for the purposes of what we want to talk about today, I'm going to go to her core profile. So here is all of the data that Clarinda has in her LifeGraph. Every LifeGraph is different. They all have different kinds of data in them. Hers happens to be a professional LifeGraph, and she has a lot of her licenses and certifications as part of that LifeGraph. But what I really want to show you is how we can actually take this data, which is signed and attested and verified. So you can see here that this piece of data has been verified. It was verified by a verification company. And you can actually go in and see all the signing and attestations that that data has not been altered or changed, that it is trustworthy. So that's how one of the ways that we manage trust within LifeGraph is by using blockchain methodologies to sign and attest the data and provide mechanisms for that data to be verified by either a trusted entity third party or by the systems that are generating that data. So in this case, I'm going to take that trusted data on LifeGraph and I'm actually going to share it. So in this case, I want to share it with somebody else. And I'm going to click next here. And I see all of the different types of data that are a part of Clarinda's profile. And I can choose which parts of my LifeGraph, Clarinda's LifeGraph, I want to share as part of this consent. In this case, I'm going to choose to package up all of that data as a verified credential. That will include both the data itself as well as all of the third-party verifications, like the verification company that you saw. All of that will get packaged up together as a JSON. And hopefully now you can see that it just exported a zip file onto my local drive that I can then share as a VC. There are lots of different ways to do this, and I'm actually going to show you a different kind of solution that we have built with a partner that shares VCs in a slightly different way. So this is a company called LifeTrek. We have helped them develop their product. And in this case, they're using VCs to create skill VCs that are shareable and signed and trusted. So here are all the VCs that Clorinda has acquired over the course of her career. She has lots of different VCs that she's acquired either on the job or through various different types of training. And each of those skills is associated with a verified credential. So if I look at Clorinda's written communication VC, I can go into the details of that VC. I can see exactly what level she has acquired in that skill, what she's done to actually get there. And if I really wanted to, I could actually, again, download the actual VC in JSON format and share that with someone else's wallet, share it with my employer, share it with a prospective employer, and I can do all of that with the privacy and security that is inherent to LifeGraph. So in this respect, VCs really allow us as a platform to manage LifeGraph data and share LifeGraph data with any third party in a way that can truly be trusted by that third party. What they get, what they see, is the data itself, all of the signing and attesting of that data, how that data can be trustworthy, and all of the different aspects of that data that help them trust it.
And I love that you're giving control to Clarissa to take care of that and run it herself. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point, is that it's really providing a person with really direct control over how their information gets shared.
No, that's great. That's really cool to see. I love to see VCs in action in real world examples. That's great to see. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit here and go more to the technical side. And this is where I'm going to bring Tyson into the conversation a bit more. So Tyson, can you walk through sort of on a high level what's going on in the background for all that? What does the integration look like?
Sure. To back up a little bit, when we started looking at how we were going to have to take what we use for privatized, verified data, this smart data had to have a way to grow legs. It had to have a way to leave our system and feed other systems. It had to have a way to allow the human experience to expand beyond just what BurstIQ can provide. And as over the last couple of years, as we've watched the W3C standards emerge, different other standards emerge for how VCs or VC-like technologies are going to enable that, it really became an overlap to what we do from the privatization sector to then how do we do an export, if you will, of someone's data in that trusted, known manner that people can lean on. They know that it's real. They can go back and verify it. They can ensure that something hasn't been revoked. And so for us, as the W3C standard emerged, of course, there were new players emerging in the market, adopting the standard. The standard gets ratified. We believe that this is a great way to accomplish that ability of BurstIQ to expand to other areas and to other services. So we had to look for something with a partner that in the public DLT sector for DIDs and VCs that enabled us to do things at the speed of transactions we're used to. So getting a DID, getting a VC created, minted, adjudicated on a blockchain so that it could be verified was rather important. And also the use cases we had really lended themselves to more the API style and the mode of thinking that Doc brought to play. So when we sat down and started looking at different partners, I'll be honest with you, it took me about 30 minutes going through this to realize that, okay, this is real. This is something that we can latch onto and integrate. We can get an interoperability between your DLT and what we do from a LifeGraph DLT perspective. And so it fit really nicely with us. And, that was kind of what I was on the look for. That's what I was searching for. So, the challenges we faced was really trying to understand the adoptability and the interoperability of VCs. That was one of the other areas that we have to see. And this is an emerging tech space. Both companies are very much on the bleeding edge of how this is going to be adopted in the market. and kind of putting a stake in the ground and saying, look, this is a trusted way of doing this. This is a standard. Let's push this forward. And the more adoptability and the more people that interoperate at this level, you're going to see this area expand very quickly. And so that's why we jumped in. We had a conversation with Doc, and it just was a perfect fit for where we were going. And so that's kind of the little bit of history when it came to the technical evaluation and what we had to do to find Doc and establish that technical partnership. Mike, you and I had several conversations. The team at Doc has been wonderful to work with as we've matured and worked through this process. You're a company that's starting out. We traded ideas, we went back and forth, and we expanded, I think, both sides of the knowledge and the technical base of what we can provide to people. So, there's always that soft ROI you're looking for, that ability to kind of iron sharpens iron. It's like, okay, now put two companies together and see where it goes. And I feel like that was something that we developed rather quickly on in our relationship.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, it's been great working with you guys too. You've been wonderful partners for sharing ideas and working together and bouncing our thoughts off of you guys too. So we've appreciated your partnership as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to share a kind of a high level architecture diagram and talk to it real quickly here. So BurstIQ really fits into this middle layer, if you will. These two middle blocks versus LifeGraph Services and LifeGraph are really our bread and butter. This is what we bring to market. This is what we bring as far as technology advances. This is what we bring to help privatize data, share it, ensure chain of custody, all the things on the slide there that we do day in, day out. People build their apps on top of us. Amber gave a great demo of two applications that can be built. The BurstIQ is a platform as a service, a lot like what you guys provide. And so the ability to build different types of applications on us is where we really fit. So the ability to build health apps or work apps or life apps, data exchanges, just that human experience on what we could provide when it comes to how the LifeGraph breathes life into the ability to see data in a different way, and to really take it to the next step and put data into the hands of the people who really should own it. That's really key. We're layer one. Our layer one is a BurstIQ product, but as well as we interact with other types of blockchains. And so we were really looking for that interoperability partner for Doc, and then you just fit right in. And so we provide you guys as a service to provide decentralized identities to any LifeGraph, and then that decentralized identity becomes the foundation of the VCs that we could produce for skills or for employment records or whatever it may be. LifeGraph is a data agnostic platform. So VCs, again, fit perfectly into that so that we can kind of package up and define the schemas and the content of a VC that we really want to provide out of the BurstIQ platform.
No, that's awesome. And that's great to see the layers there. And as you mentioned, you have experience with blockchains, you've got your own, you've integrated with other ones. So I guess I have to ask the question, you came and you're using us, and I'm really glad you are, but did you consider building your own solution for VCs and that kind of thing? And if you did, then what kind of savings did you get by using us instead of building your own and that kind of thing?
We looked at it for a hot second. We because of the way the BurstIQ platform is designed and architected, is the capability is there, but it just didn't make sense. Somebody who needs to understand that world of the W3C standards, really understand what it means to provide that exchange of DIDs and VCs, was just a technology step that didn't make sense for BurstIQ. We need it. We need to use it within our platform, like I said, for all the reasons that I discussed and Amber talked about. But at the end of the day, it just didn't make sense for us to go build that part of the car, if you will. And so what we needed to do then was find a partner. There are a couple partners out there that we could have looked at. We did do a little bit of due diligence on several of them, and it made sense with Doc. It was just your API set, the functionality you provided all fit the use cases we have today. We have some use cases that are going to emerge in the future that you guys are working on and will exactly support our use case. So I think both products are going to mature up together and provide the functionality we need. And from a time savings point of view, I would say within a couple of days, we were working within your test net. And then probably about 3 weeks later, we had Doc fully integrated and interoperating with us. Then took another couple of weeks to productionalize and get it ready for production. All in all, though, when you look at it, it was less than 2 months of an FTE to get the work done. And oh my gosh, to build that functionality ourselves, we're looking at a year plus of a team to go do that. And so that was a non-starter. And even some of the other DID and VC blockchains out there that could provide the services similar to what you guys do that we're looking at, it was going to be a multi-month project to integrate with them just due to the complexity and the nature of how exchanges work for DIDs and VCs. So all in all, for us being the company we are and moving at the speed that we do when we want to provide a service, Doc fit the bill perfectly.
That was great. I'm really happy to hear that. And you mentioned as you were talking there about sort of future plans, that kind of thing. Is there any future plans you're able to sort of share or visions you sort of see with our integration and our partnership that, where do you see VCs in the future with BurstIQ and where do you go from here?
When it comes to the future, I think the ability for a VC and Doc type setup to hit a lot of different use cases is perfect because that's already built in. It's kind of like one and done. We've got the integration, we got the interoperability with Doc, we can mint VCs, and now we can apply them into different use cases. For us, we are a platform as a service. We use Doc as a service to us and expose that up through some of our functionality. And so some of the future is going to be how do we expand our Doc services into a multi-tenant, multi-customer, large enterprise setup, and that's where I see this going for the near future.
Well, sounds great. And Amber, do you have anything else you wanted to add to any of that?
I think he covered it. I think the only thing I could possibly add is to say, we're going to be making Doc services available to all of our LifeGraph customers so that if they need to incorporate DIDs and VCs into their service, they'll have those services available and they can take advantage of the scale that we have with you. So I think that'll be a really exciting new feature for all of our customers.
Yeah, it sounds great. I look forward to seeing it get rolled out and being a part of the journey with you. So that's great. I think that's all I had. So I'd just like to thank you both for your time and for coming and chatting with me today. And
thanks, Mike.
Talk to the rest of you another time. Thanks.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.